In Shenzhen, a boy attending a Japanese school attacked on the street. And more than 350,000 mainland tourists visit Hong Kong during the three-day Mid-Autumn Festival break. Russian forces say they've captured the Ukrainian town of Urensk in the Donetsk region as they continue to advance in the east. Ukraine officials did not mention the town, but said Russia was conducting at least 34 assaults in the region as both sides exchange drone attacks. Meanwhile, a more than century-old church in Donetsk was destroyed by Russian forces. The church in a small village close to the front line of the war was built more than 110 years ago. The dome was completely destroyed and several icons and statues were left in ruins. This member of Ukraine's Special White Angel police force said the church survived the Second World War, but could not survive Russian attacks. Russian forces used aerial bombs to destroy the church in July. He said it's among several older structures scattered around the province that have been leveled by Russia. Ukrainian forces are struggling to hold back Russian advances in the east. With the Russia-Ukraine war raging on without an end in sight, many Russians have noted significant price hikes of goods imported from Western countries. Some Russians also say the war has caused major disruptions to their plans to study abroad in the West. Timothy Lee tells us more.
The front line of the Russo-Ukrainian war may be taking place a long way from St. Petersburg, but residents of Russia's second largest city are not exempt from the conflict's violence. Earlier, a reporter was killed in a local cafe in an incident related to the war, while apartments have been targets of Ukrainian drone attacks. 20-year-old local resident Grigory said he's not concerned about his personal safety because St. Petersburg is far from the battlefield. But he noted the war's impact on daily life, particularly the rising prices of goods imported from Western countries.
We can see that, some consumer goods became maybe not so affordable. For example, if I want to buy some shirt in the United Kingdom, I should buy it not directly from the United Kingdom, but I should find some person who can buy it, for example, in Kazakhstan, and they they will send it to Russia. And actually all the stuff making the prices in Russia higher.
Meanwhile, Daniel, originally from the southern city of Krasnodar, said his hometown had been the victim of numerous attacks. He thanked God for protecting his house from explosions, but remains frustrated by the fact that he cannot transfer money or deliver packages to his relatives abroad. Despite the wartime difficulties, Daniel said many people in the country have adjusted to the situation. Besides material challenges, the young St. Petersburg resident said the conflict disrupted his plans to study in the West. He emphasized that Western restrictions on Russians resulted in many young people switching their attention to the East when it comes to their academic future. Calling China a strong and wealthy nation, Daniel said many young Russians would like to study and start a business in China. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
Meantime, more than 350,000 mainland tourists have visited the city over the Mid-Autumn Festival period. A hotel executive who's familiar with the local tourism scene says many mainlanders preferred staying at boutique hotels during their visits. This comes as a three-day Mid-Autumn Festival break for mainlanders came to an end on Tuesday. Min Mo-sung-ai reports.
The city hosted different events to celebrate the Mid-Autumn Festival, including the Daihan Fire Dragon Dance, a drone show, and lantern carnivals. Some overseas tourists said they were not familiar with the festival, but enjoyed the festive atmosphere.
I just Googled about festivals and went to the Hong Kong Island for the festival in Victoria Park. It's very nice, but very crowded.
This year, the Mid-Autumn Festival break for mainlanders lasted 3 days, from Sunday to Tuesday. The Immigration Department says over 350,000 mainlanders arrived in the city during that period. Executive Director of Hong Kong Tourism Association Timothy Choi, who is also the Chief Director of Operation of a hotel, said boutique hotels were popular among mainland visitors, with affordable room prices being a reason. He said there are more backpackers and short trip travelers nowadays, and they only want a place to stay overnight rather than looking for a room with a Victoria Harbour view. For this holiday, Cherry said many mainland tourists came from places where train journeys took no more than 2 hours. For instance, Guangxi, Jiangxi, and Fujian. Cherry also said he is positive about the number of mainland tourists visiting the city during the upcoming National Day holiday. Eddie Wong, deputy chairman of a food and beverage group, said the spending power of mainland consumers on meals and drinks remains weak compared with the pre-pandemic period. News 9, TVB News.
With the Mid-Autumn Festival coming to a close, residents can look forward to the next holiday, National Day on October 1st. To facilitate the mainland's Golden Week holidays, celebrating the founding of the People's Republic of China, the Hong Kong Tourism Board announced a series of festive activities, promotions, and discounts. One of them is in Temple Street. Timothy Lee reports.
In coordination with the government's earlier announcement of activities celebrating the 75th anniversary of the People's Republic of China, the Hong Kong Tourism Board rolled out a series of activities and discounts in preparation for the mainland's National Day Golden Week holidays. On Temple Street, revelers can enjoy a 25% discount, paying just 75% of the normal price, for designated delicacies between the 1st and 7th of October. A local merchants association said the discounted items are the most popular varieties, such as siumai, fish balls, and beef offal. They hope the tourism landmark will attract up to 12,000 visitors per day, which would boost business by 30 to 40%. This local food stall owner said many of her mainland friends often come to enjoy the food on Temple Street. She expects business during the Golden Week to double. Besides feasting on local street snacks, visitors can also enjoy a drone show at the Wan Chai Promenade on the evening of Saturday week. The performance will feature both unique elements of Hong Kong and the 75th anniversary of the PRC. Meanwhile, a special National Day edition of Victoria Harbour's daily laser and light show, a symphony of lights, will be performed in October. Fireworks displays will also be included in the October 26th edition. Regarding public transport, the Hong Kong Tourism Board said residents will be able to board the tram free of charge on National Day. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
Still ahead, floodwaters continue to pose threats to some areas in Central Europe. And bedbug problems at Kwai Chung Hospital. Welcome back. Floodwaters in Central Europe have killed at least 22 people as emergency workers and volunteers used sandbags on Tuesday to reinforce river embankments. They also delivered food and drinking water to communities cut off by the worst flooding in years. While floodwaters are receding in some areas, the trail of destruction covers an expanse from Romania to Poland. Tracy Furness has more.
One town on the border of the Czech Republic and Poland, Bohumin, partially submerged in water as rescue services assessed the damage. Firefighters distributed food and water to those who refused to leave their houses. Czech authorities declared an emergency in 2 northeastern regions. Similar scenes more than 400 kilometers away in the Czech town of Plav. With knee-high floods in neighborhoods and parks, Plav's deputy mayor says the situation is now stable. The water level is starting to fall because the release of the Rimov Dam is also reducing, and it has stopped raining, so rivers and streams are reducing their levels. The River Danube, Europe's second longest river, burst its banks in the city of Bratislava on Tuesday, flooding parts of the Slovak capital. Bars and restaurants along the riverbank were flooded, but the major barriers that city officials put in place prevented the water from reaching residential areas. In Austria, clean-up operations were underway as water levels declined. This village of Erpersdorf was flooded when a dam broke. Firefighters said the water here didn't come from the Danube as usual, but from a creek which serves as a flood barrier, but a dam broke, so a flood wave came. And in Poland, volunteers in the southwestern Opole province were helping to fill and load sandbags to strengthen flood defences. Floodwaters in Poland burst dams and embankments in some areas, while receding waters elsewhere left streets covered in piles of debris and mud. It prompted a hospital in the southwestern Polish city of Nysa to evacuate about 40 patients. Schools and offices in the affected areas were closed, and drinking water and food had to be delivered by trucks. Many Polish cities, including Warsaw, have called for food donations for flood survivors. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
Commerce Minister Wang Wentao met with German Vice Chancellor and Economic Minister Robert Habeck. The talks were held in Berlin ahead of an EU vote on imposing higher tariffs on Chinese-made electric vehicles. Wang said Beijing will hold more consultations until the last minute and strive to reach a solution in line with World Trade Organization rules. Wang said China and Germany enjoyed a complementary partnership, and the imposition of the tariffs would undermine the interests of both countries. Wang expressed his hope that Germany could actively push the European Commission and China to work in the same direction. Macau's Chief Executive Election Committee says former top judge Sam Ho-Fai has cleared the admissibility review, and he will be the sole candidate in the upcoming CE election. The commission found the 386 nominations submitted by Sam as effective. The Enclave's Committee for Safeguarding National Security also affirmed Sam's abilities to uphold the basic law and his allegiance to the country and the city. According to Macau CE election laws, nominees and members of the election committee can raise objections tomorrow. If no objection is received, the election committee will officially confirm Sam's CE candidacy on Friday. A local group protested outside the Consulate General of Japan on the 93rd anniversary of the 9/18 incident. 9/18 means September 18th, which marks one of the main events that triggered Japan's 14-year invasion of China. The Action Committee for Defending the Diaoyu Islands began their protest at the General Post Office in Central. They then walked to Exchange Square, where the office of the Consulate General of Japan is located. The group carried a banner with a slogan, "Don't forget the 9/18 incident." In China, various memorial events were held to commemorate the incident. A bell rang 14 times at the 9/18 Historical Museum in Shenyang as part of the commemoration. 4 patients were bitten by bedbugs at Kwai Chung Hospital. The hospital management first received a report from a male patient on Monday about his itching skin. Hospital staff suspect the man was bitten by bedbugs after conducting a physical examination of the patient. 3 other men also filed similar reports. The hospital says bedbugs were found in the patient's beds and in a sealed heater shaft. Pest control personnel were deployed to tackle the problem on Tuesday. A dermatologist has warned patients against scratching the itching skin, as that could create wounds resulting in bacterial infections. That's the news. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.